Hello and welcome to the very first Theme Park Stories Report, or TPS report for short. In this report, I'm going to start talking about our trip to Dollywood, the advanced planning, the budgeting, and then the trip itself. As far as advanced planning, we started planning back in October of 23 to figure out which park or area we would like to visit. So we had a couple of areas in mind: Kings Island, Hershey Park, or Dollywood. Due to the age of our son and the amount of rides available at his height requirement, we decided to go with Dollywood. Also, the opening of Big Bear Mountain at his height requirement was a big push for us to visit there over the other parks. We did look at theme park ticket prices, and Dollywood was in the upper end of those prices, being a $96 per single day visit. If you did multiple day visits, you could stretch that out a little bit and save some money. But we also looked at season passes, and the Dollywood Diamond Pass also included 4 single day tickets, bring a friend tickets, along with that pass. I will say that the Diamond Dollywood Pass was only available for a limited time, so planning early really helped us save a lot of money. Utilizing the Diamond Pass along with all the other discounts available was really going to save us a ton of money going for this trip. We also budgeted about $1,500 for lodging, $800 for other incidentals, on top of the price of the $398 for the Diamond Pass. Later on, as planning continued, my mom also decided to join us, so we budgeted an extra $124 to get her a 2-day ticket. We also utilized the Pre-K Imagination Pass to allow my son to get in for free. To do that, you have to sign up online and then bring in a photocopy of their birth certificate, and they have to be under the age of 5, and if they are able to get in for free. So that saved us another ticket that we didn't have to purchase for my son. In going down to the Pigeon Forge area, we wanted to rent a cabin. We wanted to be up in the mountains and take full advantage of the views and the scenery. As well as we wanted space for all the people coming. We wanted everybody to have their own separate bedrooms, own separate spaces, and we wanted to stay under budget. We had $1,500 for the 5-day trip that we were planning, and we looked on one of our favorite websites, VRBO, and we found a cabin that fit perfectly. We were very pleased with it. It came with a full kitchen, which allowed us to go get groceries and cook dinners for everyone every evening. This cut down significantly on our eating out and food budget. Speaking of the food budget, in the park itself, we decided to go for the tasting passes for the Flower and Food Festival. We ended up getting 3 of these at $40.70 each, with the Diamond Pass discount applied. Came to about $122 for everyone. Each one of the passes came with 5 items that you could get from a limited menu that were at different places around the park. The idea behind these passes is that we were going to use them mainly for our lunches for the 3 days we were going to be there. Not everybody was going to go all 3 days, but we wanted to make sure we had enough passes to get food for everybody for those 3 days for lunches. Breakfast, we ate in the cabin, and dinners, we ate in the cabin as well. So that cut down on our food budget, $120 for lunches for everybody for the week. There was an emergency hamburger and chicken tenders that was purchased on day 3 of the trip, just because the little one got hungry and no other food options were currently available we could use passes for, but we broke down and got a cheeseburger and a couple chicken tenders, and that only cost about $23. Fairly reasonable as far as theme park food goes. I don't have any complaints about that. The real star of the show, probably over the course of the 3 days that we were there, was something that also came with the Diamond Pass, and that was this drink tumbler that was also a part of the pass. It pretty much gives you a pass to get as many drinks as you want, however often you want to get them. Sodas, lemonade, anything out of the drink fountains, but also, and a big thing for me, was coffee. I probably had 4 or 5 coffees in this thing over the course of the 3 days that I was there. So being able to get free coffee in a mug that actually is going to keep it warm or your drink cold all day, so this thing would hold ice very well. It's a very nice tumbler, and pretty much anytime you walked up to a fountain, you just showed them, hey, I've got the diamond tumbler, and they just waved you on through. They didn't have to scan anything. Nobody had to do anything. You just got the drink you wanted and you moved on. Okay, day one was our family day. This was the day that both my mom and my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, were going to come to the park, as well as our little one. So this day we had to take it a little bit slower. Couldn't run around to everything all at once. Wanted to see some shows, wanted to do some tasting with the tasting passes, wanted to see all the flowers, see all the beauty that the park had to offer. So we took it a little slower on day one. We only did about one lap around the park because the park can be fairly hilly. So going up one side of the park and coming down the other was pretty much all we got done in that day. Watched a couple of shows, did that sort of thing. Did get one ride on Big Bear Mountain the first day, as well as Fire Chaser Express with the little guy. He absolutely loved both of those rides, so that was an absolute win. But the first day was pretty chill. Day two was my solo day in the park. I decided to come down myself. My wife and her mom decided to go do some shopping. My mom and the little guy stayed back at the cabin and played games and had some fun there. And I went to ride roller coasters. Now, the first part of the day was fairly rainy. I think it started raining about 9:30 and didn't stop till about 11:30. So I didn't actually go down to the park till almost 12:30, 1 o'clock. But I got down to the park. Parking was free. Didn't have to do, just showed them my pass, went on in, didn't have to pay for parking. And got into the park, and there were almost no lines at all for anything. So I could just walk on the rides I wanted to walk on, rode every roller coaster in the park in about 2 hours, and some of them multiple times. And then the second round around the park, I rode re-rides of anything I wanted to re-ride. Ended up riding Thunderhead about 8 times, rode Lightning Rod about 2 times. Lightning Rod is still a good ride, even without the launch. It's still a decent ride. It's still got some rough spots for me, though. After the second big turnaround, there's a bit of a pothole that kind of shunts a little bit, and that doesn't feel great. So after about 2 or 3 rides on Lightning Rod, I'm pretty much done. But I could ride Thunderhead all day, every day, all the time. Also did a couple of rides on Tennessee Tornado, still a quality ride, one of Arrow's best loopers, still to this day, fantastic ride. Mystery Mine, great theming, a little bit of a headbanger back and forth on the restraints if you don't ride it really defensively. It's a once per trip ride for me. I usually don't ride that one over and over. And the other rides, I did a couple of rides of myself on Big Bear Mountain because even though it's a family ride, it's still fantastic. I left some of the other ones that I was going to come back for day 2, and that was really going to be my son's day in the park to ride all of those rides. So I knew I was going to get to some of those the next day, so I didn't do a lot of re-rides. Did ride Blazing Fury. You gotta ride Blazing Fury when you go to Dollywood. It's just kind of standard. It's like getting cinnamon bread. Get cinnamon bread, ride Blazing Fury, and your day at Dollywood is not complete, but it is more complete than it would be without them. Day 3 was me and my son and my mom's day in the park. My mom had gotten the 2-day ticket. We decided to get her a 2-day ticket instead of burning 2 of the Bring a Friend tickets because those kind of have a $96 value, and the 2-day ticket at $122 was a much better value for her because she knew she was going to go 2 days. Everybody else knew they were going to go 1 day, and I knew I was going to go multiple days, and my son, using the Imagination Pass, could go as many days as he could go as well. So that was just a better deal for us using that. Plus, it saved us from using one of those Bring a Friend tickets, so me, my wife, and my son can come down later on by ourselves, maybe for late fall or possibly even Christmas. So on this 3rd day, this was really my son's day. We took him back to Wildwood Grove pretty much as soon as we got into the park. We rode Big Bear Mountain a couple of times. We rode Dragonflyer a couple of times. We hit all the rides, then coming back out of Wildwood Grove. And once we rode all those rides, we then switched over to wet clothes. We put some wet clothes on my son, and my mom changed some clothes as well. My clothes were pretty much okay to get wet. I tried to to dress appropriately for a theme park, so I got some shorts that dry real fast. I was cool getting as wet as we needed to. And then we hit up some of the water rides, which these are my mom's favorite rides. She loves water rides. She loves log flumes and raft rides. It was warm enough in early May, luckily, that these rides were not only open, but comfortable. And everybody had a great time. Daredevil Falls, fantastic log flume ride. And the Smoky River Rampage, also a pretty good raft ride. We rode those multiple times, got pretty wet. After that, we went through and went back around and up Timber Canyon, up back to Wildwood Grove, and switched back over to Dry Clothes, and then did a bunch more rides up there. Oh, we also did, on the way back down to the water rides, my son got on Blazing Fury for his first time, as well as we did another ride on Fire Chaser Express. Fire Chaser Express on that Tuesday, the line was about 20 minutes long, and that was the longest line we had hit the whole time we had been down there. So, not long lines for anything at all this time of year. This is a great time of year to visit Dollywood. The only couple of downsides we had on this trip was that the Dollywood Express was not open for any of the days we were at the park. Looks like they were doing some maintenance to the track in the back. I did notice some heavy equipment back there as we were riding Big Bear Mountain. I took a look back there and saw there was some heavy equipment on the track. Plus the trains were disengaged on the track going into the country fair area. So they're definitely doing some work on the Dollywood Express. I hope that gets back up and running soon. I hope that's back up and running for our next trip down. The only other issue that we ran into was that the water park has not opened. They open just a week later, so maybe had we done a little bit more planning, we could have gotten the next week and then also enjoyed the water park as well. In conclusion, we had an absolutely fantastic time at Dollywood. Everyone got out of it exactly what they had hoped to. The folks that wanted to see the shows and do the shopping and try all the food got to do that. The folks like me who wanted to ride all of the roller coasters, I got a day to do that. And my son and my mom and me got a day to ride all of the more family-oriented rides and a lot of the roller coasters as well. There were only a couple of roller coasters that my son, at a 42-inch height requirement, couldn't do, but not a lot. He got to do a majority of what was available in the park, and that was really fantastic. Dollywood also gets really high marks for just the cleanliness of the park, how everything was run. We never had to wait in line for food too much. All of the drink machines had ice all day long. I hit up drink machines pretty constantly because of the tumbler. I got to go around and try all the different drinks that they had available, and every time there was ice. And a lot of other theme parks I go to, and you get a drink pass or something, you try to get ice about after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's no ice. So ice all day at Dollywood. Also, all of the employees at the park, super nice, super helpful. Everyone had a smile on their face. Everybody looked like they were happy to be there. And the overall vibe of Dollywood is just great. Everything feels positive. There was some beautiful spring weather. We did have a couple of rain showers, but it really didn't stop our fun at all. Everything really worked out wonderfully, and I'm very happy we chose Dollywood and took this trip. Doing a little breakdown of how we ended up with the budget at the end of the trip, we actually came out about $250 under budget for the whole trip. That's the $800 incidental funds that we had. We only really ate out at about 2 restaurants the entire time, other than going to Dollywood. We had a really great breakfast at the Five Oaks Country Kitchen. Great breakfast there, highly recommend it. And then our first day getting there, before we got our groceries into the cabin, we ate at the Old Mill Restaurant, which is a family style kind of dinner restaurant, which was fantastic as well. The corn fritters, I highly recommend those. They bring them to the table, so there's no reason not to try them. With the maple butter, fantastic stuff there. So looking at our totals in YNAB here for this pass, I am keeping track of all the discounts that we were able to get with this pass. So including my first trip with my friend down to Dollywood, as well as this trip, this pass is almost at double what we initially paid for it in benefits that we have used so far. Out of the $395.25 total paid for the Diamond Pass, we pay $38.97 monthly for that. It is now currently the value that we have gotten back out of it, counting all the admission, all the discounts, the parking, the freebies. So I tried to keep track of every time I use my tumbler, because that is about a $4 to $5 value every time you fill it up and get a drink. Came to about $725.19 in value for the 4 trips into the park we have made so far, even my solo trips as well as the family trips and everything else. So, and we may even get one more trip in before the end of the year down to Dollywood, which would increase that even more. So it's probably going to more than double what we've paid for the pass in benefits for this. So I would really highly recommend, if you are looking at going to Dollywood, plan ahead and get the Diamond Pass if you can, and use those bring a friend tickets. They really help in the admission price, getting everybody in instead of having to pay single day tickets. If you can't get the Diamond Pass, definitely look at going to Dollywood for multiple days. That's really going to bring down the prices a lot. 2 days is pretty good. 3 days is the better deal. So if you're gonna bring folks that are going to come every day. At this trip, I knew I had some people that were only going to want to do 1 day at Dollywood. I knew my mom and my son could probably do 2 days, and I was going to do all 3 days. So this planning the way we did worked out pretty well. Okay, and that's it for this trip report to Dollywood for Theme Park Stories. Thanks for joining us, and the next one should be the Cedar Point trip that I am taking with a couple of my friends. They're not a family trip, more of a coaster related trip up to Cedar Point, checking out Top Thrill 2. We've all got our gold passes with all parks, and we also have all have the meal plans as well. So we're looking at doing that, and I'm going to be keeping track of at least my pass for that, as well as all the times I've used it at King's Dominion, and we'll look into that as well. So thanks for joining me this time. See you later.